Okay, so today we're taking a deep dive into something I think a lot of folks are dealing with these days, and that's loneliness.
Yeah, for sure.
And to help us navigate this, we're going to be using The Loneliness Cure by Tom Brooks, which delves into this whole idea of harnessing the power of social connection and community.
Sounds good.
So right off the bat, Brooks kind of throws this paradox at us.
Right.
We're like more digitally connected than ever, but
Yeah.
it seems like loneliness is kind of this growing epidemic, impacting our well-being, how we work, and even our sense of belonging in the world.
Definitely.
So it's not just about feeling a little lonely every now and then.
Yeah.
It's more than that, right?
Yeah, Brooks is talking about chronic loneliness. It's like a deeper, more persistent state.
Gotcha. And it sounds like it has some pretty serious implications.
Oh, absolutely. He highlights the research linking chronic loneliness to things like depression, anxiety, and even cognitive decline.
Yeah.
Which is pretty scary when you think about it. And even more surprising, some studies suggest that, in the long run, it might be as risky for your health as smoking or obesity.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
So that really underscores just how important this topic is.
For sure.
So in this deep dive, we really want to kind of dig into what's causing this epidemic of loneliness and maybe more importantly, explore the potential of social connections in these communities that Brooks talks about as real solutions.
Definitely. I think that's a good approach.
And of course, this is all for you, our listeners. We want you to be able to think about this issue and how it relates to your own life.
Makes sense.
So jumping into some of the content, Brooks kind of outlines several contributing factors to this whole growing sense of isolation.
Yeah.
Changes in traditional family structures.
Right.
This greater emphasis on individualism in society.
Right.
And then just, the fast pace of modern life. It all plays a role. And then, of course, you have this whole thing with technology, right?
Yeah, how could we forget that?
It's kind of like we're hyper-connected online, but it doesn't always translate to those kind of deep, meaningful interactions that we really crave.
Totally.
And Brooks kind of hints at that early on.
Yeah, he's suggesting that those genuine face-to-face relationships are what we really need.
Right.
And that they're a key part of the solution.
And he also emphasizes that this isn't all just in our heads. Right?
Exactly. It's not just an emotional thing.
The effects of loneliness are real.
Yeah, it actually impacts us physically and mentally.
Yeah.
Later in the book, he brings up this Harvard study that found a strong connection between social connections and, things like lower blood pressure.
Oh, wow.
And even a reduced risk of heart disease.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's a pretty powerful reminder that loneliness isn't just a feeling.
Right.
It actually has some real consequences.
Yeah, that really drives the point home. And Brooks also talks about how communities themselves have kind of changed over time.
Yeah.
Fewer people know their neighbors.
For sure.
We have, smaller, more dispersed households than maybe we used to.
Right.
So he's basically painting this picture of a world where those traditional support systems have kind of weakened and been replaced by these digital interactions.
Yeah.
Which, while convenient, might not have that same depth of connection as being face-to-face.
Exactly. And Brooks really makes a strong case for, the fundamental human need for connection. It's like it's wired into us.
Yeah.
If you think about it from an evolutionary perspective, our ancestors really relied on social bonds for survival.
That makes sense.
They needed each other. And that need hasn't really disappeared.
Right.
It still has this huge impact on our well-being, even today.
It's like this underlying current affecting everything, right?
Right. Everything from our stress levels and how our immune system functions to, how long we live and even our self-worth.
So it sounds like actively building those stronger communities is kind of crucial to tapping into that innate need for connection.
For sure.
And Brooks gives some real-world examples of how this can actually happen, right?
Yeah, he talks about things like those neighborhood block parties.
Oh, wow.
Like the one on Johnson Street, remember?
I do.
And then volunteer groups like the Gardeners Club.
Okay. Yeah.
And even online communities based on shared interests like a book lovers forum.
Oh, that's cool.
These are all great ways for people to come together and, cultivate a sense of belonging and shared purpose.
Right. That's a good point.
But, it's not always easy. There are definitely some challenges to, building these connections.
Right.
Brooks acknowledges that. Things like social anxiety can really make it tough for some people to reach out.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And there can be practical barriers, too, like a lack of time or resources.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so as we start to wrap up here, we've kind of explored what loneliness actually is, its impact on our health, the things that are causing it, and this idea of building those strong social connections in communities as a way to move forward.
Yeah, and Brooks' argument is that creating a more connected society really takes effort at all levels.
That's interesting.
It's about individual willingness to be open and reach out to others.
Okay,
It's about actively engaging and building inclusive communities.
gotcha.
And it's also about these bigger societal shifts that prioritize social well-being.
Oh, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about your own connections and how you might contribute to a greater sense of community.
Exactly.
Brooks closes the book with this quote from bell hooks about love and liberation.
Oh, yeah.
And it really highlights that social connection isn't just some nice-to-have thing, right?
No.
It's actually crucial for a healthy and more compassionate society.
Yeah, that's the takeaway.
Yeah.
Social connection is essential for us to thrive, both individually and as a society.
Right, right. And it's something we all need to be thinking about.
Absolutely.
Well, that wraps up another deep dive. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Sounds good.